Gentlemen, ladies, this is a very important message for everyone living in the United States of America and anyone who receives Union of Soviet Socialist Republics or Social Security or any kind of pension, any benefits. This is something you need to know. In the United States of America, 6 major changes will be introduced starting January 1, 2026 in United States Social Security payments. If you receive social pension, the so-called Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, and any other assistance programs, this is for you. By the way, if you want to receive this and other important information in a timely manner, then subscribe. Be sure to click the bell, otherwise you won't receive new videos on time.
6 major changes in Social Security for 2026, an increase in the cost of living, higher Medicare expenses, and a new tax deduction will affect recipients' incomes next year. This releases on October 28, 2025. I'll get right to the point to keep you updated. Now, this article talks about everything from the long-awaited cost of living adjustment to the minimally welcomed increase in Medicare premiums. Social Security recipients can expect several major changes in 2026. These changes are driven by new federal policies and economic shifts, such as inflation and income trends, which affect more than 70 million people receiving Social Security benefits, as well as about 185 million workers and future recipients who contribute to the Social Security system.
It concerns everyone who works in the United States, not just those who receive Social Security, because we all pay into the Social Security system. The social safety net system, as it's called in Russian, Social Security as we call it here. Every year there are adjustments for inflation. In 2025, inflation was about 2.8%, that is, around 2.5 to 3%. This means that starting from January 2026, you will receive about 2.5 to 3% more than in 2025. Of course, this isn't a very big increase. It's only about $56, let's say. On average, people get more, but it balances out inflation. If both the wife and husband receive benefits, then from $3,120 a month, they will get $3,208 a month. But Medicare expenses are also increasing mainly due to 3 factors. Life expectancy is rising. Unfortunately, the cost of our services is going up, as well as the cost of medications, and also expenses for undocumented immigrants. Well, they significantly increased the Medicare payout. So that means we'll be paying about $20 more per month. Well, basically almost 50% of it goes to undocumented immigrants, 50% and the rest, just in California alone, it's all for paying for undocumented immigrants. While they're not allowed to go to regular doctors, they just go straight to the emergency room, and we pay for the emergency room for emergency care. In California alone, undocumented immigrants cost $9.1 billion. That means this money was stolen from us, of course, from you and me. Stolen means it was taken from us without our permission. Besides, the payment system for services is set up, well, to put it mildly, in a really stupid way. So, a person comes in and for 2 or 3 services, if they hadn't ordered them, they would have just received, let's say, insurance X. But if they provide, say, 20 or 30 services, they'll get 10X, 10 times more. And nobody actually checks what services they're really providing, whether they're needed or not. Well, in general, it's genius. Yes, basically there's plenty of insurance, and actually they get this money from us by increasing insurance premiums. Whether they were needed or not, right or wrong, they were done anyway. Really, no one checks at all. So what do you think when a person comes to a doctor or a hospital? No one is going to check them. They just believe them, like with Chapayev. And he can provide 2 services and get $200, or he can provide 20 so-called services and get $2,000. What do you think he will do? Actually, a healthy patient means little money, but a constantly sick patient means a lot of money. A wonderful incentive system was invented in the United States so that a lot of unnecessary services are provided and patients are undertreated because they are directly interested in treating us as much and as long as possible. So look, what is more profitable for the doctor and the hospital? For us to stop being sick, or I hope you understand exactly what I mean. Your doctor is no exception to this rule. Well, if you're lucky, then you're lucky. So, initiatives to lower the cost of living have also been proposed, and in fact, they have been implemented. The removal of tariffs on more than 200 types of products, tariffs meaning customs duties that Trump introduced, but on 200. Plus, he removed them from food products yesterday or the day before, including coffee, beef, and avocados. Now, $2,000 in financial aid for low-income people from dividends means that's what we get from the income from tariffs. I'll explain who gets it, why, and how much. Compensation. So look, today there is a very specific type of mortgage. This is called ipoteka in Russian, that you have to pay off over a certain number of years. That is, well, so to speak, you can sign up for one or another. So Trump is suggesting that you should be able to sign up even for a 50-year one, take money for 50 years. Naturally, no one lives in a house for that long. Houses change, conditions on the market change, courts change things, so to speak. One thing ends and another begins. You can come and ask for money and, so to speak, they'll give you that money under different terms and cover the loan in that bank or in that branch or anywhere else. So Trump said that he has to go through, of course, some financial authorities. But his idea is to give you the opportunity to either pay off quickly with large amounts or pay less monthly and take longer to pay it off. And when you sell the house, the part you've already paid will be yours, and the part that hasn't been paid yet is still a debt, which will be reimbursed to the bank for what you haven't paid yet. Now then, the next thing that's being done is lowering the prices of medications by supplying them directly, bypassing middlemen, and prohibiting selling medications in the United States at a higher price than they are sold abroad in developed countries. I've discussed this already, so I won't repeat it. Now, raising the health savings account contribution limit is interesting. Currently, only a small portion of people can't access HSAs. So you put money in there, you deposit up to a certain amount, it's not taxed, and then you use that money yourself for treatment for health expenses. All health matters are covered there. First of all, Trump significantly expanded who can do this, so now millions of people can do it. And besides that, you can invest much more money there to shelter it from taxes, so you can spend and use pre-tax money, not after-tax money. I hope you understand what I mean. Now creating special accounts for children where the government, let's say, deposits $1,000 itself. You open the account, boom, the government puts in $1,000 for you, and then the parents can contribute further. These are savings accounts. After that, parents can't take this money out, but they can deposit a certain amount of money there, I think also without tax. And when the child turns 21, they can either buy a car, start a business, go to university, or after enrolling in university, pay for their life at university. So it's specifically designed so that people have some initial amount when they start living independently. Now, there will practically be no inheritance tax, meaning up to 15 million, nothing will be taken. Taking from inheritance is banditry since the person already paid taxes and wants to give it to their children, but instead a portion is taken. Well, at least Trump is moving more and more towards increasing the amount that is not taxed. Now the child tax credit is increasing. In other words, for a typical family of 4. Now I'm going to give you some numbers. So with an average income of more than $80,000 a year, that is, I think, between 80 and 100. These savings will total $1,700 to $1,800 a year, plus $2,000. That means which are sent to Trump. Last time I made a slip or said it was per family, but no, it's not per family, it's per person. So what does that mean? A citizen earning up to 100,000 or below the 100,000 threshold, for example. If a family of 4, it means they receive less than 100,000 a year. All family members who meet the criteria. If they are adults, they get $2,000 each. That's the very gift. What the government earned from customs, it gives to the people. So $2,000 times 4 people, that's $8,000. But, so to speak, where there are children, it's $600 per child. 2 adults cost $4,000 and 2 children at $600 each, total $1,200. So 4,000 plus 1,200 equals 5,200. But the children also get a credit, as I mentioned. And in general, so to speak, I won't go too far into it right now. If you add both together, it comes out to about $2,000 more for each person, adult or small child. And now then, to receive the benefit for a child, what do you need to have? You need to have a social security number for them, a security number, that's all. Actually, you also need some kind of identification, so to speak. They don't have a driver's license, so it's something else. So there is still no decision from Congress regarding this payment, and this is just a proposal from the White House. But as we know, Trump knows how to get his decisions through Congress, so this hasn't been approved by law yet. Implementation is likely in spring, possibly in early 2026 or near the elections. I suspect that this is being done to make it closer to the elections, which of course will give a boost, so to speak, to the Democrats, but well, what can you do? So how is that? If it gets postponed to early autumn of 2026, then it will be before November. There will be a couple of months before the elections. And of course, that will have a big positive impact. That's it. But of course, all of this will be approved before the new Congress is reelected, because it could end up, God forbid, being Democratic and in the hands of the Democrats. And then, of course, all the things that Trump came up with will start to be slowed down and so on. That is, everything needs to be done before the congressional elections because, well, no one knows. We all hope that everything will go well, and the Republicans will remain in control of both the House and the Senate. But as they say, anything can happen. And just in case, we need to finish these matters before the elections take place. Now, the idea of the Democrat is actually, let America be worse off, as long as it means we get back into power. They present it in a different way. Oh, the horror, Trump, it will be such a nightmare, and what if he stays? But in reality, it's a very simple idea. So we use all means, moral, immoral, rational, irrational, to try to convince the people that Trump is terrible and please bring us back to power. Because, well, we want to, of course, rob you, but we'll do it with smiling faces and maybe even dance a little. If you want, we'll even sing and jump. Well, that's it. Since we're talking about income and taxes, let me tell you about some other important changes you need to understand.
The tax service has just announced major tax changes that will take effect in 2026. The standard deduction will increase next year. In 2026, single taxpayers will be able to deduct $16,100 from their income. A married couple filing jointly will double that amount, which is good. The standard deduction is $32,200, and head of household filers get $24,150. If
you live alone and earn $100,000 a year, you subtract $16,100 from that. You only pay taxes on the rest, not the full $100,000. $100,000 minus $16,100 is $83,900. And if you are husband and wife and earned $100,000 together, then you don't pay taxes on the full $100,000, but on $67,800. So it's even more then.
If either of you is 65 or older, there are additional deductions you can get. For a single taxpayer, you get an additional $1,650 on top of that. And for a married couple, it's $2,050 extra. The big, wonderful bill has an extra bonus that's quite generous. Everyone gets an additional amount. Again, if you're 65 or older, that's an extra $6,000 on top of that and on top of those other amounts.
Gentlemen, in 2026, so you will have to pay $12,695 out of $100,000, not $17,000 that you paid this year. In other words, $4,215 gives you the opportunity, so to speak, to get that much more in your hands. So in this way, is Trump trying to offset, let's say, some financial problems that you had because of inflation or something else? I know it's hard to understand just by listening, but just know that if you're 65 or older, then in 2026, from a salary of $100,000, they took $2,695 from you, and in 2025, they took $1,017 from you. That's all. I hope I didn't confuse everyone completely. Maybe we can still figure something out. And if you have stocks, investments, or assets, and let's say they've grown by $500,000, then you'll pay 15% on that. Well, that's robbery, of course. It's nothing but the government's desire to take your money without justification, and the president can't cancel this because neither Congress nor the Senate will let him do it, and the president can't refuse this on his own. That's Congress, that's the whole thing, and mostly it's the lower house. That's it. Well, at least the current government is trying to rob you more delicately, not like the hungry Democrats. In general, out of two evils, we'll take more from you here and take less from you there. I vote for the lesser evil. Amazing, isn't it? Yes, I understand that most of you want to vote for having more taken from you. There. But personally, I really like the directions Trump is leading us. Towards not paying taxes, towards not punishing good producers by robbing them of their earnings and transferring their earnings. To those who worked poorly, offered bad products, set unrealistic prices, and nobody bought anything from them. If you do good work, it will be taken, but if you do bad work, you'll get part of what was stolen. I was always baffled by this idea, honestly. But then I saw that Donald Trump doesn't like it either. Because what he does, again, he doesn't express it the way I do. He puts it more bluntly and without any explanations, but he's heading in the same direction. The way Trump is moving, it's a step in the right direction. With slow steps sometimes, because in reality, there wouldn't be enough counterbalancing forces in the structure of the United States of America. And for a president who has only one branch of power, not three, they simply wouldn't allow any sudden moves to be made. When this is done slowly, gently canceling it, proving that life can go on without it. Thus, I think he's much better than people who suggest cutting it down with an axe. He will achieve success. But the main thing for me is that Trump is moving in the right direction. And so even when I don't understand something and it seems to me that it's going in a different direction, it's not a retreat. I think it's just a tactical move from one place to another so as not to chase rabbits. Well, or maybe rabbits or even cunning foxes. Goodbye.